Well, as we heard in the news, the Scottish Government is to explore if mobile abattoirs could be used to address the closure of slaughterhouses across the country and the long distances travelled by animals for the likes of Orkney to get to facilities. The issue was raised in Parliament by South of Scotland MSP Emma Harper, who's been telling me that work needs to be done to see if they could provide a sustainable solution.
My understanding is that our animals, whether they're going from Stranraer to Lockerbie or wherever they are based in our area, there's distances that need to be covered in order to get to the abattoirs. But there is one micro abattoir in the borders near Kelso that they have set up recently, and that seems to be quite manageable for the farmer in that area. He's managing his own wee micro abattoir.
I know that you've been looking at, solutions to some of these problems and what could be done. Just tell us the kind of things that you've been examining and, in fact, raising in Parliament.
We had a transportation of animals debate where I raised that issue in the members' debate about looking into the possibility of mobile abattoirs, because there's a model out there in other countries in Europe, Sweden, Norway, France and Germany, where they have adopted this mobile abattoir model. And my colleague Gail Ross, who is the MSP for Caithness, Sutherland and Ross, so she's a wee bit closer to you than I am. Gail raised a question for Cabinet Secretary Fergus Ewan last week to explore the possibility of cooperative abattoirs or micro and or mobile as well. So there's a couple different MSPs that have raised this issue, so hopefully we'll be able to at least begin the conversation and explore the options so that maybe we can support our farmers and crofters, across Scotland.
What needs to be done to see if something like a mobile abattoir system like they have in Scandinavia, for instance, if that could be suitable?
Well, I think obviously there's licensing and rules around setting up of any abattoir, whether it's a static or mobile. I actually met with SIPA in Parliament last week and raised the issue of, can we do this? Could we implement a model? Could you go back and look at it? So the SIPA representative I spoke to is going to get back in touch with me and knows that it's a pretty quick turnaround we're asking. So hopefully they will be able to get back to me pretty soon with some information. And I'm aware there's other folk looking at this issue other than me. I saw a tweet the other day from Soil Association. So there are people that are asking these questions, and I think that's great that we're all beginning the conversation to see what we can do to support our rural farmers and rural businesses.
And again, that you're not an expert on mobile abattoirs as such, but you've done a little bit of research, and one of the concerns that was raised up here was kind of about the effluent. I mean, just tell us about what you've learned during the kind of research that you've done.
Yeah, I think that was one of the concerns, was what happens with the product or the effluent that has to be a concern. So we've seen different truck models where a second storage container is the one where the product is stored and then transported safely, so that effluent isn't being delivered down into our sewerage or water supply. So that was my big issue, and I'm not a scientist, I'm not an expert on this. So we've looked at what's happening in other areas, and this separate storage system was one of the items that I learned about.
And this was obviously discussed in Parliament, I think, last week. What was the commitment from your colleague Fergus Ewing about what's going to happen to look at this as we go ahead?
Well, from the Chamber debate, Marie Goujon said that all options would be explored for how we deal with issues of transportation. And I believe Fergus's response was positive as well. So in the next few weeks, I'm sure we'll continue to be having dialogue with our officials in Parliament and asking the questions so that we can see some progress with the experts that are more expert in this than I am.
That's the SNP MSP for the South of Scotland, Emma Harper. The time now is just after 19 minutes to 8.